Welcome to the show, guys. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. I know a lot of you guys, well, the people that got 16 rounds are okay, but I know a lot of you guys and gals that are out of the playoffs want to continue fantasy football. So why not do it with DFS? I'm here to help you guys with Draftkings, FanDuel, or whatever daily fantasy sports lineups or, whatever platform you play on. I'm going to help you guys make sure you get an optimal roster this week for NFL Week 14. I can't believe we're here. So I'm going to give you guys some starts and sits here for DFS, give you guys all the optimal plays, and help you guys craft that perfect line. I'm going to go through every position and tell you which players I like at each position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and a defense here for you guys on this show. If you're new to the channel, there is a giveaway, guys. Giveaway alert. I'm telling you guys, it's legit. You enter once, it's free to enter, and then you're in for all the draws moving forward. So this week, we're giving away a signed Najee Harris speed helmet, guys. Beautiful Steelers helmet, matte finish, white matte finish. Beautiful, guys, speed helmet here. Najee, one of my favorite players this year. The Chiefs were sleeping on. They actually had him outside the top 10 amongst running backs. He's been great. He's been solid every single year. To enter, guys, pristineauction.com. Go create an account. Use promo code, listen to this, SWAGLION, and you're in for all draws moving forward. That's pristineauction.com. Pull over right now. Go create an account. It's super easy. It takes like 2 minutes, and you create an account, and you get promo code SWAGLION when you sign up. And you also get $10 in there so you can auction and get, enter auctions, you get $10 off your first auction there. So exciting stuff, guys. Giveaways, pristineauction.com, swag line, and head on over to manscaped.com. Get yourself an amazing trimmer. Christmas is here. Manscaped.com, promo code SHOWERLINE, get a trimmer, and I use their shampoo every single day. It's phenomenal. Body wash smells amazing. Manscaped.com, SHOWERLION, at pristineauction.com, swagline. Swagline, guys, showerline. Very easy. All right, let's dive into this. Let's start off with the quarterback position here. Optimal plays. And I'll tell you some value plays at each position. Let's dive in. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's go. Quarterbacks here. I like Dak Prescott. You're going to pay $6,700 on DraftKings, but I like him this week. Arguably, theoretically, the best matchup versus position versus Washington. Dak should have a big game. Now, he had a 12-pointer last week. The week before, or last time they played, was 28 points. So, he is due, and he's got a good matchup. I like it, okay? Cam Newton coming off the last game with 8 points. Doesn't look phenomenal, but does have a good matchup versus Atlanta. Trevor Lawrence, who I don't trust, has a good matchup. I'm just giving you guys some with good matchups and whether I trust him or not. Derek Carr, good matchup. Don't trust him. Big Ben, good matchup. Don't trust him. Zach Wilson, good matchup. Don't trust him. Aaron Rodgers, good matchup. He's going to have a big game versus Chicago, but you're going to pay $7,200. Now, with quarterback, I like to anchor my team with a good quarterback. So I wouldn't mind Dak and Aaron Rodgers this week at DFS anchoring my team, okay? Pat Mahomes, good matchup. Again, coming off 2 terrible weeks. 14 points last week, 10 points the week before, and you're paying $8,000 on DraftKings, although a favorable matchup there. Maybe he's due for a bounce-back game. Now, Taysom Hill coming off that 28-point game, playing the Jets, good matchup this week. Do I trust him? Not really. Burrow at $6,000 seems like he's good value, coming off a 23-pointer and has a favorable matchup. Now, here's a sneaky value play. Well, he's not that much of a value, but $6,400. Ryan Tannehill, relatively easy matchup versus Jacksonville. Now, if you want to start Justin Herbert, if you want to start Kyler Murray, I understand these guys are studs. I've got Justin Herbert starting in my year-long playoffs, okay? So I need Herbert to perform. In DFS, he's $7,100, but he's got the 9th hardest matchup versus position. Brady coming off a big week, arguably the hardest matchup versus position versus Buffalo. Stafford, hard matchup versus Arizona. So Stafford, Brady, Kyler, Herbert, all have tough matchups versus position, just so you're aware of this. So this is not a surprise. So I've told you the guys that are safer to start based on matchup, and I like the upside. Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, maybe even a Joe Burrow at $6,000 for a value. And if you want to start Herbert, I think he's still going to have a great week, but he does have a tough matchup versus position. Be aware of that. So you heard who I like, okay? Moving on to running back here. Now I'm going to give you some optimal plays here at the running back, including some value plays here. Okay, so not necessarily the best matchup does well. Now, Saquon Barkley, optimal matchup versus the Chargers. Is he going to do well? Very hard to trust. I'm starting him in year long. For DFS, $6,000, not bad on DraftKings, okay? I do like Alexander Madison's matchup versus Pittsburgh this week. 7th easiest versus position. definitely a play in DFS. He's expensive. He's $7,800. $8,300 Austin Eckler, great matchup. Very, very expensive. Najee Harris, $7,700. Good matchup. So Eckler, Najee, Madison, all great starts this week, which is good because I've got Najee and Saquon who've got favorable matchups this week, and I got him in year long, okay? If you want Joe Mixon, he's coming off a 10-point week. He's $7,700. He's got a mid-range matchup. Just be aware of that, okay? Another guy I might want to consider is A.J. Dillon. I think Jones had a bad game last time he played. Not sure how many reps he's going to get, but Dillon, $5,900, pretty good value. Devontae Freeman, who's been, pretty good in certain games, $5,700. If you want a good value running back, he's got a mid-range matchup. And Leonard Fournette, who's been pretty solid all the way through, you're going to pay $7,400. He's got a mid-range matchup if you are curious about him. Also, David Montgomery, coming off a huge week, mid-range matchup, and value. So if you want value, there you have it. David Montgomery at $5,700, not bad. Now, Zeke Elliott, mid-range matchup, had a rough week last week. I don't know if I trust him. See, that's a guy I don't trust. Could be due for a big game, but Tony Pollard outperformed him 15 points to 7 last outing. Zeke Elliott versus Washington, I personally don't really trust him, okay? Again, if you want to, there's some tough matchup guys. Antonio Gibson, be cautious. James Robinson, tough matchup. Now, James Robinson not getting the love that he should get. Had a fumble last week, was pulled out of the game. They brought in Carlos Hyde near the goal line. Then I think he came back, had another point or so. But I think I heard some meme saying that he was complaining not getting the volume. Rightfully so. This guy's been disrespected. They brought in Travis Etienne early in the season, drafted him in the first round. James Robinson just not getting the love he deserves. He's a great running back that should be on a team that gets him a lot of volume. So I don't trust Robinson this week for DFS because I'm really concerned about that volume, okay? So it's just something to monitor, something to consider. Now, in regards to let's move on to wide receiver. Again, those are the guys that I like at each position, guys. Now, you got to go with your gut feeling when you're playing DFS. You really have to go. But again, with running back, you got to go with that running back that you're confident is going to get that volume, okay? Wide receiver here, this is where I take the risk. This is where I take the gamble. Deontay Johnson coming off a huge week, and he's got a good matchup this week versus Minnesota. Absolutely love Deontay Johnson this week. Yeah, I'm paying $7,100 in DFS, but I'm definitely all in on him, okay? Other wide receivers that I like that have optimal matchups, Amari Cooper, coming off some mediocre weeks at best, but he does have a good matchup this week. I think he's due for a touchdown, okay? CeeDee Lamb had the better game last time. Elijah Moore, still relatively good value on DraftKings, $5,900, starting to light up, and a good matchup. I'm starting him in my year-long. Hopefully he has a good week, okay? Due for another touchdown. DJ Moore, good matchup, $6,200. A little more expensive, but not bad, okay? Let's see if there's anybody else here. Justin Jefferson coming off a super hot week. He's going to continue to eat. You're paying $8,300 because he's guaranteed that volume, especially with Adam Thielen being out potentially. KJ Osborne, if you want that value wide receiver that could be due for a touchdown with Thielen potentially out, KJ Osborne definitely worth consider starting there. Jarvis Landry, not bad value, $5,400. Definitely consider him. Tyler Lockett, $6,700. I don't know if I'd pay that. He's close to a mid-range matchup. Be cautious there. I'm going to give you guys some other value plays here as well if you want. Now, if you want a value, actually, not. I thought it would have been more of a value, but T. Higgins, not a value at $6,400. I'm not paying that. Jamar Chase, 10 points last game, 7 the week before. Hasn't been turning it up. I think Jamar Chase is due for a bigger week. He's due. $6,900. I might roll the dice on him. Stefan Diggs coming off some mediocre weeks. 9 points last outing. They played New England. Looked rough. Playing Tampa Bay, mid-range matchup. And again, $8,100. I don't know if I'm going to pay it. I'm trying to look for value. Even Cooper Kupp, $9,200 coming off a huge game. Got a mid-range matchup. I don't know if I want to pay that, right? So who do you start at wide receiver? That's the big question. And again, I'm looking for value here, okay? I'm looking for value. Like Russell Gage, $5,700, had a 26-point week last week. He's due for a big game versus Carolina, but he does have a tough matchup. Be aware of that. Tyreek Hill, $8,500. You're paying huge dollars, but look for a bounce back week out of Tyreek Hill. Tough matchup, yes, versus Las Vegas, but down week, up week. He's very volatile, so he's a guy that could absolutely go off. I like Chris Godwin. He's got a tough matchup, though, $7,100. I might roll the dice. I don't care what tough matchup. I think Godwin gets the volume coming off a huge 33-point week. I like Godwin. Now, again, I'm looking at value. I do like I said, Elijah Moore. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown coming off a huge week, $5,000. You could roll the dice on him again versus Denver, but it is a tough matchup. Be aware. So, yeah, you get a bit of a value, but, again, tough matchup, okay? With wide receiver, it is tough this week. It is because, again, the guys that are value have tough matchups. Now, Darnell Mooney at $5,700 was relatively consistent all throughout his, this year. Coming off an 8-pointer, he's due $5,700, not bad as well. Jalen Guyton, 19 points last week. Could be another value play, $3,400. You could roll the dice on him. Big time risk there as well. And that's pretty much it. Metcalf is hard to trust. I'm trying to see if there's any other names. Like I said, KJ Osborne, I think he's a value play at $4,100 there. And, some of the other names I mentioned, guys, plug them into your lineup, and you should be okay. But, again, I like to have some sort of security. So, Deontay Johnson's kind of that safety blanket for me for year long. And, again, he's got one of the best matchups versus position this week, all right? Tight end, start the best possible tight end. I go over this every single week. Travis Kelce coming off a crappy 6-point game, but does have a favorable matchup this week. I'm starting a super safe tight end this week. I like Gronkowski, $6,000, but he's been performing every single week. He's out. 5th hardest matchup versus Buffalo, but sometimes if it's a tough defense, Tom Brady will go to his reliable target. That is Rob Gronkowski. I'm going to get my guarantee there. Now, George Kittle, coming off a monster week, is he going to duplicate that? Very unlikely in a mid-range matchup versus Cincinnati. $6,900, you're going to pay for him. I'd rather have Gronk at $6,000, a little more safer, tougher matchup, but Gronk at $6,000, save the $900 over Kittle, who was a little inflated based on last week. Pat Freiermuth, also a good option at $4,300. Mark Andrew, $5,900, super safe. He's been relatively safe and consistent all year. So, Andrews are good names. Freiermuth is a good name. Gronkowski is a good name. Kelce due for a bounce back, but a little expensive at $7,400. I don't know if I'm going to pay it. Again, what goes up must come down, but Kelce, $74, coming off a bad week, very, very hard to trust. Putting him in this week, okay? Tight end, try to, again, get the safe 10 points, and you'll be happy with that. Jared Cook, also a value play at $3,200, along with, again, Pat Freiermuth at $43, which I like. You could consider Tyler Conklin as well, especially if Thielen's out. You may want to consider him $4,100, coming off a 13-point week last week. I think he did get a touchdown last week as well. And if you also want to value Cameron Brate, sometimes with Gronkowski sideline, taking a breather, Brate could sneak in and get a touchdown. You never really know, okay? Those are the tight ends. Now, the best defense to start, I just simply go with the best defense. I don't mess around. It's a difference of $1,000 between a really good defense and a bad defense, or sometimes even less than that. Panthers versus Atlanta, but, that's on my paper, one of the good matches. But Atlanta, sometimes they surprise you. I do like the Titans versus Jacksonville this week. That is a good matchup you may want to consider. Seahawks versus Houston, $3,100. Saints versus Jets. Packers versus Chicago. And, those are the ones I like. I don't mess around. Chargers is actually a good defense versus the Giants. I'm tempted to start them as well. I actually streamed them this week. They're available. I may start them over the Rams this week. I'm still torn. Rams playing Arizona kind of concerns me, even though they're a good defense. I kind of like the Chargers versus Giants matchup there, okay? So those are the defenses. Make sure you guys, go back, listen again, but you want to make sure you roll the dice on those wild cards, value plays at wide receiver. Secure that quarterback that you know is going to get you points. Secure those running backs. Secure the defense. Tight end, you can be a little more flexible. Wide receiver, you can be a little more flexible to fit your budget. And if you hit those wild cards, you're going to do really, really well, okay, guys, for DFS Week 14. And I understand a lot of you guys are out of your year-long fantasy championships. Very unfortunate. If you got 16 rounds, you'd probably be in, but you can continue your passion with DFS throughout the season. All right, guys, subscribe, thumbs up if you're new to the channel. We go year-long, and we're going to start rolling over to 2022 very soon, looking at early 2022 rankings at each position. Make sure you guys subscribe. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.